Hi, it's Brian. We're into November the 20th and we're back to the pressing issue of peak oil, peak energy, peak everything, the energy bank running dry, and here it is being confirmed, and these stories are actually becoming more frequent on the front page of the latest Guardian Weekly. And what does it say? Crucial data distorted as global oil runs dry. And it is a very good article by Terry McAllister. The world is much closer to running out of oil than official estimates admit, according to the whistleblower at the International Energy Agency, who claims it has been deliberately underplaying a looming shortage for fear of triggering panic buying. Well, I don't know how much that particular spin is actually true. I don't know, but the International Energy Agency has actually been thinking about panic buying, but it certainly has had very, very interesting misinformation, and it's surprising because actually for a while I was convinced that they just didn't have the data. But it now appears that they have been aware, and of course other really important players have been actually speaking about this. For example, Chevron talked about the age of human energy. Last year it ran a documentary, and I think the title of the documentary was "You Have Been Warned," and they were talking about the fact that oil had peaked. We had warnings from Matt Simmons International, the energy investment banker, and of course the Association of Scientists have been giving a very clear message with their wonderful spokesperson Colin Campbell talking about the fact that global oil production, as far as they're concerned, has peaked. And a lot of the industry commentators, and of course the thing is that even if the data was not quite as accurate as you might like, the logic of the argument of peak oil still is ironclad. Look, you've only got so much oil, it's a finite resource, and sooner or later you're actually going to reach peak oil, which is when basically production moves past halfway, and of course naturally the last half is going to go quicker than the first for a whole lot of reasons. Also the usable oil in the last half, because what happens is that as you get lower in your wells, of course you're getting the poorer quality oil, the heavier oil, the oil that requires more refining. And of course, as those of us who are informed know, that the oil infrastructure is aged, the personnel is aged, they're not recruiting young staff the same as they used to. And so the whole thing is tired, and we are in a really, really serious position of being unable to supply the amounts that the energy vampire is using. And of course that's what's happened. The excuse me, the high energy users, the Americans, the Europeans, and now the Chinese, and to a lesser extent the Indians, but with the ramping up of the industrial complex in India and particularly in China, the residue of oil that's left is going to very quickly disappear. So we're back to this unattended crisis. And as we saw when we were last in Europe, only just a few weeks back, the Europeans have taken to small cars. Now that's wonderful because small cars don't use so much energy as big cars, but unfortunately the small cars are prolific, and that is just no solution to a problem at all. And of course trucks, oh my God, trucks everywhere in Europe, and just so depressing to see that the rail system is not being used in the way that it should be, and instead goods are being transported on their autostrada, on the super highways that were built across Europe, starting with the Third Reich, when Adolf Hitler had this massive expansion to save the economy of the world, because it had actually got itself into a mess. And those unattended issues, those economic issues of debt and so forth, have still been unresolved. They're still waiting to find some kind of resolution, and it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon. So the problems are compounding. But this is really serious, because now we've got the Global Energy Agency, the International Energy Agency, now being outed, and the truth has come out. So where's the plan B? And of course, in the last broadcast I did, I showed that governments of the world have no plan B. And we're all kind of locked into this paradigm of fossil fuel as our energy source. We've been, as I've said in the past, a monolithic fuel-based culture, a monolithic fuel-based world, really, a global culture that is monolithically fuel-based. And what are we to do? I mean, this is going to require huge sacrifices, and the political hierarchies have no ability or will to actually implement the kinds of radical changes that are needed in order for a collective survival without a lot of casualties. And so what we're going to have is, really, really sad. It's going to unfold into probably the biggest mess we've ever seen. Now, that isn't much fun, is it, to be told all that? But somewhere I remember reading in the Bible that the truth will set us free. Well, it just may be that the truth will set us free, but not in this world, the way we're going. Okay, so we'll speak to you next time, and we'll look for a bit of blue sky.